Hello. Today we will see a match with motion. Major crisis survival courses should be introduced in school. The students' team are the government and the teachers' team are the opposition. Let's start the match. The speaker of the government has the floor.
Hello, my name is Daria and today I will be the government first speaker, and with Daria the second speaker and Bogdan the third, I will be presenting our first argument and the status vote. The motion for today is major crisis survivor courses should be introduced in school. Let's start by defending the terms. Major crisis is a situation of life and death where individuals are being affected by one or more serious problems. Survival courses means a course that teaches people how to survive in case of extreme condition. Our case philosophy is safety isn't expensive, it's priceless. We got used to seeing survival situations as a consequence of catalysm and bad accidents or war zones. However, reality proves us that a random incident can bring us to the fine line between life and death. Serious institutions have made plans in case of a potential crisis for different disaster scenarios. On the other hand, as you know, at least in generally, interventions exercises are done periodically in case of an earthquake or an evacuation in case of a fire. Usually, intervention scenarios are based on the biggest existence risk of an area, like earthquakes in cities like Bucharest or fires and explosions in big industrial units. However, major disasters rarely appear once every few years or even less. Although recent climate changes change everything we've known for decades or even centuries. Extreme meteorology phenomena, abundant rain or snow, extreme temperature, fire, or even a solar storm are moving their place and coming in aggressively. It's happening more and more often, and we should develop a new reflex and habits regarding preparation and intervention in emergency situations. Countries like Venezuela are fighting another type of crisis. We are thinking about a political gendered social and economically disaster where generalized poverty leads to a disaster similar to the one after natural cataclysm, where is a lack of food and fuel, and the criminality is out of control. In such places, authorities aren't really any help because they really intervene, and when they do it, it's with a respective purpose. From a certain point of view, they can reassemble war zones, another place where people need to survive disasters. In all these situations, the authorities' immediately intervention is limited until complete extension. No one is sticking up for you. You are left to stick up for yourself. Preparing doesn't mean practicing crisis scenarios to follow when needed, but developing a set of abilities and a behavior model correlated to the environment you live in. Therefore, the following questions appear. Should these abilities be formed in school or not? How efficient would these lessons be if they were taught in school? How are we planning to do that, you might ask? Well, we are thinking of creating a partnership with non-profit organizations that deal with these types of courses. For example, the International Association for Safety and Survival Training, or Red Cross, which teaches people how to fend for themselves in case of crisis situations for free. Weekly survival courses would be more than useful, as I'm going to prove you with our first argument. Of course, it will take time to implement such measures, as it can't be done overnight, but we are confident that once we manage to do this, the waiting will must definitely be worth it. Our first argument is the argument of ignorance. You can protect yourself from something you don't understand. As we have previously mentioned in the status quo, most people don't actually know what a major crisis situation is. Therefore, they definitely could not survive one. You cannot protect yourself from something you don't understand, and you can't even see it coming. Most major crises are actually impossible to be foreseen. You can never know for sure what the next earthquake strikes or when the food is due to come. Sometimes we can't even see wars coming in advance, so we need to be prepared at all possible times. For example, let's look at Venezuela's crisis for 2018 that has major impact even today. A country struck by hunger, sickness, and death caused by the extreme raising for inflation. People were being forced to flee their country or stay there to die, as they didn't have enough resources. As an article from Wikipedia about the crisis says, the UN analyst estimates in 2019 that 25% of Venezuelans need some a form of humanitarian assistance. Venezuela led the world in murder rates with 81.5 per 100,000 people killed in 2018, making it the third most violent country in the world. These numbers may not have seemed very alarming at first, but when we look at the murder rate of other stable countries like Norway or Netherlands that have murder rates lower than 1, we can understand better the severity of the problem. This should ring some alarm bells for all of us. We need to learn about the dangers that could appear at any given moment in order to protect our citizens, and need to show them the crude reality of what a crisis truly is and show them how to survive and overcome it. We care about people and we want to keep them aware of danger, well informed, and most importantly safe. These survival courses would be help to us just that, and not only do we think that they could be helpful, we think that they would generally have actual human lives like this. With all this being said, please vote the motion.
First speaker of opposition has the floor.
Hello, my name is Valeria and I'm speaker 1 for the opposition team, and our speaker 2 is Anca and speaker 3 is Liliana. And today we have a motion that is called Major Crisis Survival Courses Should Be Introduced in Schools. As its best, education should never be only about survival, nor should it be only about academic aims. Children, not only adults, live a life full of changes. That's why they need at least one constant in a daily life, and this might be brought by school. We agreed to introduce certain subjects in schools as human rights awareness, conflict resolution, or cultural activities. They can contribute to the children's growing, both individually and socially. In our opinion, too many changes and experiments were and have been done when it comes to education system in Romania, about 112 in the last 11 years. So the law of education has been modified more than 10 times each of the last 11 years. What's more, about 28 ministers of education the last 30 years.
Don't you think we need to change to evolve into something better?
Yes, into something better, but I'm going to explain later why we don't need another change when it comes about education, if you allow me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Each of them tried to bring something new, to change what was already implemented and to show how innovative he or she was without taking into consideration the needs of students, teachers, families, and even to the whole society. As anyone knows, the focus is on what children learn rather on what teachers teach, the child-centered method. So no preparation could solve problems as fires, floods, natural disasters, earthquake, etc. Also, learning is effective when a child can practice what he learned. While education should definitely include the theoretical, it must also engage the learner in the practical use of an activity or in a discussion of a new awareness. That's why we must take into consideration that our system doesn't have people or teachers who could teach survival techniques professionally. I believe that it is more useful and practical to ask professional people from different areas as first aid methods, emergency situations, police or hospital in order to instruct our students and show them the best way to solve a crisis situation. This doesn't mean an extra financial cost when speaking of paying teachers or buying different materials, even changing the curricula. We need no other change or, in fact, experiment, as it happened to the so-called subject education for a good health, educație pentru sănătate, that was implemented for a few years, then all of a sudden vanished. We believe that emotional management skills must be taught in schools, but by people who know best. Our children do poorly because they lack the ability to rein in the emotions and focus on the task. If students meet any danger, they could ask for help from adults, or simply they must learn to dial 112 directly, as it happens all over the world. And if some of them really need these skills, their parents will teach them before they are old enough to be in school. We know that theory is totally different from real life. So no matter how much theoretical knowledge someone gains, when it comes to reality, nothing is the same. So please don't vote the motion.
Speaker of government has the floor.
Hello, my name is Daria, and today I will be the government's second speaker. I will start by arguing what my previous speaker has said. So, first of all, I am going to remind you our plan. We have been told that teachers are not prepared for such courses. Well, we have mentioned we are not going to use teachers. We are going to partner up with different ONGs and non-profit organizations like the Red Cross, and we will have experts explain to our children how to survive in such cases. They can't exactly just call an adult or call 911 or ask for help from a teacher when a very bad crisis is happening. I can't really go to my teacher and say, save my life when an earthquake is striking or when there is a war outside. So I need to be able to fend for myself.
Sorry, can I interrupt you a little?
Not yet.
Oh, nice, I will do the same.
Great. We have been thought about first aid methods. Well, they have already been implemented in different schools, and children have been paying attention to them, because when you're learning something that can save your life or save someone else's life, you're going to pay attention because you care about your life. You might not care about maths. You might not pay attention in maths, but you are going to pay attention when you need to save your life. Yes, thank you, your intervention.
Where do you take all the experts from? Because now, you know, it's expensive to pay them. And our government says no money for everything, for anything else.
Yes, we agree with you. That's why we decided to use non-profit organizations, and we know that it will take time. We have mentioned that it would take time to implement such a course. We don't expect things to happen right away. We know it will take time, but there is demand and there is offer. And once we want something, once we want to implement something, automatically there will be more offer for it. Thank you. We have been said that education should never be about survival. We don't want education to only be about survival. We want education to involve survival courses because it should be something mandatory. I should know how to fend for myself and how to not die when something important comes. And I will continue by proving the efficiency of these courses with our second argument, which is the argument of human rights and citizen protection. As everyone knows, any citizen has the right to be protected, and even more, the fundamental right to live. We have to keep our people safe, and most importantly, alive. But as we all know, most of the times crisis situations can't actually be predicted, and when danger appears, we need to have prepared people who can survive if need be. For example, in case of a flood, we can't go out and save every citizen, but we can prepare them in time so that if it's ever needed, they will know exactly what to do. Let's take a clear look at Japan, a country with a very high seismic risk, but also a country that is fulfilling the duty it has towards its citizens. The kids in Japan are taught from as early as kindergarten how to survive in case of earthquakes. They do drills, learn how to panic, and gain experience in simulation machines. After an earthquake, an adult is required to pick up a child from school. Not necessarily his child, just any child, because it's better to take a child away from a collapsing building and make sure he's safe than let him stay there and die. This shows a country that cares about its children, a country that knows how to protect its people. Such courses have been proven to be extremely useful. Words are useless, so instead let's look at the numbers. In January of 2010, a very violent earthquake, a 7 on the magnitude scale, took place in Haiti, a country that does not provide such survival courses for its citizens. There were 160,000 deaths. That's a huge number. In February of the same year, another 7 on the magnitude scale earthquake took place in Japan. But this time, because Japan has survival courses regarding earthquakes, only 1 person died. A few months later, in December of the same year, an even bigger danger struck Japan. a 7.4 magnitude earthquake. But this time, not even one single person died. So as we can see, major crisis survival courses are not something that we think should be implemented, but something that should be mandatory in a well-developed country that cares about its citizens. Having said that, please vote the motion.
The second speaker of opposition has the floor.
Okay, thank you. My name is Andolescu Anca. I'm the second speaker from the negation team. I don't like negative people and negative situations, but this is what I received. So, every party and leading group wants to introduce extra classes, but did they ask students or people if they consider they need them? Or how many times did trained people manage to use their skills in difficult situations? I consider that, and I told that there are not enough trained people for to do that, to do what we need to be taught to. And the second speaker from the affirmative said that human rights have some problems and we have the right to be protected. But if we trust the experts, as you know, there are a lot of people who try to be good with us, but do you think that they have good ideas and good, I don't know, thoughts for us? Life experience matters. So I think that when we are in a crisis situation, we forget what we are taught. So we have to manage, even if we were taught or not to do that. I consider that families have to teach people how to react in many situations, in difficult situations. As you know, in the past we knew how to do everything, how to escape from fires, how to manage bad situations. There were wars as well as now, and people knew how to do it. Maybe it was a kind of an instinct, I suppose. Sorry. There is another problem. I consider that there is not enough space in schools to teach survival techniques, as you know. Here at our high school, we have problems even with normal classes. Where would you teach them how to survive? If you don't go somewhere in the woods, somewhere in open area, or somewhere to see what they are taught. Survival techniques need to be presented in nature, so not indoor. It's one of my opinion. In crisis situations, we think, okay.
Isn't theoretical better than not at all?
Then at all. Now it depends how courageous you are and what would you like to do with your life and if you can struggle by yourself. I think that nobody taught me what to do and I could manage in every situation.
Okay.
In crisis situations, I think the nature of human being is created by God to manage, to find solutions, to live. All our parents in the past told us what to do when we need something we don't like, we don't know, and so on. You talk about COVID, for example. If they tried to teach us some things about how to survive, was it enough? It's a question. So, or we had to protect ourselves without any kind of, I don't know, techniques or teaching us some techniques.
But they did give us resources to do that. They gave us a vaccine.
Yes, but after, not before.
Thank you.
Okay. Good point. Okay, so did you know in the past that the COVID is coming or the war is coming and so on? Practically, we know some techniques, we know what to do, but if you are not put in that place to manage yourself, to do something, I think that extra classes are not enough. I don't know, maybe sometimes we have to react and to save our lives because if you tried sometimes to call 111 or the ambulance or whatever and they didn't come, did you stay there only to wait or could you do something for your life? It's a question. For example, it's the same in that critical situations, crisis. We have to manage, we have to raise strong people, we have to be very, very strong with ourselves, not waiting for help for, I don't know, from everybody else. So, life teaches you many lessons, I suppose. And we talk a little about money. Where do we take all the money from? Because it's not little money. Or I think that every time a party or a group of leading group try to, we say, wash money for that cause, or to put money from another, from another project in this situation, and I don't agree.
Speaker of government has the floor.
Hello, I'm Bogdan and I the third speaker of the government, and I want to say a few words about what the opposite team said. Well, they said that we don't have enough space for those type of activities, but we can use the theoretical part just for a few months or years until everybody will see how important those type of courses will be. And we can't just say that everybody will figure it out, because some of us will really know what to do, but some won't. So we really need to think about the others and their lives, because those are important too. And I also want to talk about the plan and the money problem. My colleagues said that we don't need any money for start, because we're gonna work with non-profitable organizations that will not just will make advertisement for their organization, but will also help and improve their courses. Then I will want to talk about the case balance. So the debate match was played around this motion. The government wants to introduce major crisis survival courses. The government team came up with the first argument, the ignorance one, saying that you can't protect yourself from something you don't understand, which is valid, as we have proven by giving the example of Venezuela's financial crisis. Not our subjective opinion, but the statistics have shown that a lot of people have died because they weren't prepared for this type of crisis, and the preparing crisis survival course could have saved so many lives. The argument of human rights and citizen protection, which is the government's second argument, is talking about why the state should protect its citizens at all costs, and why this is not possible because of a major crisis. People should know how to protect themselves. This argument is also valid by showing the example of Japan, safest country situated in the Pacific Ring of Fire. We really believe in this argument because the power of example brings justice one more time. Since those type of courses saved the country devastated by the attacks of the earthquakes, why wouldn't they save us from any kind of crisis? We need to believe in people and in their instinct of surviving that will happily embrace a helping hand. I also want to talk about the arguments that the opposite team said. First of all, that changes won't work. We can't just think about it, because changing means evolution, and everybody wants evolution. We won't stop making those type of programs which may save lives just because the others didn't work, because a human life, as we know, is really important and we can't measure it. The second argument came up with the problem that not everybody needs those type of courses. As I previously said, we need to take in consideration the people that can't really take care of themselves, and those type of courses will probably save their lives. So we really need to make something about it. Having those said, please vote the motion.
The third speaker of opposition has the floor.
Hello. School do teach survival, how to survive in this world, our current world, the digital one. My name is Liliana and I represent Speaker 3 in the opposition team. I'm here to reinforce the ideas my first two speakers have already mentioned, and also to talk about the arguments of the government's team. In a crisis, it is acceptable to have more questions than answers.
In crisis, we should all be learners and teach others to control and to defend. In crisis, we should only learn to be humans. I now take advantage of my role of teacher. We, as teachers, the teachers, already teach you basic maths and literacy and all the information you need to survive in this world, the digital one. You remember very good that we already have passed a period.
You're right. You said that you're teaching people to survive in the digital world. Do you think the digital world is necessarily a major crisis situation?
Yes, because you learned in a digital educational system for almost 2 years.
Thank you.
Okay. I now take advantage of my role to inform you that you need survival skills for living in a crisis situation. If you want those skills, watch Bear Grylls on TV or sign up for an outdoor survival course. But they are not all useful and they have no application in the world most of us are living in now. You remember that most of us, students and teachers, don't know how to open a computer or to log in a meeting or to do certain issues or things which are basic. So this is what we have to fight. And I'm so much more than a teacher, than someone who needs to teach survival. First of all, I need to be taught. When the moment arrives, life experience matter. I'm going to support my role, saying or illustrating a more relaxed attitude to this motion. I'm not just a teacher. I'm a counselor, I'm a police officer, I'm a travel agent, scheduling our trips. I'm the one who wipes a crying child tears. I'm a banker, collecting money for something. I'm a librarian, I'm a custodian, I'm a psychic that learns to know all the events or all that everybody only guesses. I'm a photographer, I'm a mother and a father. I'm a doctor, I'm a politician, a party planner, a decorator, a news reporter, a detective. But I'm proud to have to be all these people because I'm proud to say I'm a teacher. And moreover, I have to say something about the arguments of my opposing team. Well, the first argument was that we are ignorant. No, we are not ignorant, we are real. You said that we have to change, and changing wasn't evolution in our educational system. There were only experiments that brought nothing good, only confusion. You also mentioned about the Japanese educational system, and I think we don't have to compare with them. I know that the Japanese educational system manages to instruct their students or citizens to act in a crisis situation, but unfortunately we can compare them, their educational system and their culture with ours. So, having said that, please don't vote the motion.
The first speaker of opposite has the floor for the reply.
Okay, I like replying many times and every time. In conclusion, I believe that every class master must have during the counseling classes professionals to speak to the students and show them how to put into practice that theoretical part. Also, out of school alternatives, there are necessary to make them have access to the essential knowledge. Was children clubs, extracurricular activities done by people working in the fields and emergency, police, hospitals, not necessarily people who have to be paid. I think we should win because there isn't any extra money when the government suggests now to cut off so many costs. Being a powerful person by nature is better than being trained by people we do not trust. So you said something with theoretical studies. No students would like to have more theoretical studies and lessons. You can't be safe if you read. You have to feel and take solutions on the spot. Students don't like theory anymore, but practice. So your argument with theory in school is not relevant. We, the teachers, managed to keep a class of 30 kids and they didn't get hurt. So I consider that life gives you ideas to escape any difficult situation. Anytime you need a solution, you don't have to watch others or to be taught to do it. Having said that, please do not vote the motion.
Second speaker of government has the floor for the reply.
I would like to start by saying that this was a very interesting debate, and I am asking all of you that at the end of the day, let's look just a bit in retrospective. We can notice that we have two worlds. The world of the government, a government that wants people to live and wants people to be safe, a government that wants people to form some discipline and empathy. Then we have the second word, which is the opposition's word, an opposition that thinks that giving the country's children an extra ounce of safety that could potentially save their lives is too much work to do. An opposition that seems to not care about people, and an opposition that doesn't understand the gravity of a major crisis, that doesn't understand that when a building is falling over you because of a 7.4 magnitude earthquake, you can't just get up and call 911 or ask an adult for help. We are seeming to go in circles over where we will get our money from, and who is going to teach these kids? What is the efficiency going to be? When we have already explained that. So what exactly is stopping us from protecting our people, except for our lack of concern for their lives? The efficiency of these types of curses has already been proven by Japan. Everyone always says that they want a country like the foreign ones, a country like the ones outside of ours. So let's do just that. Let's get a country like the ones outside. Let's follow Japan's example and give our people their well-deserved right to live and be protected. We cannot oppose change forever. Where exactly would our world be right now without change? Change means evolution, and without it, we would still be in the dark ages. We want evolution, we want safety, and we want useful education. This have being said, please, we are solemnly asking you to vote the motion.
Judge Gilda has the floor for her decision and feedback.
Hi everybody, I'm glad to be here, and I'd like you to tell that both sides, both teams were great. In fact, I had to take a decision based on some arguments I heard. I'll begin by telling you that the first argument of the government team was, I hope I can find it, yes, something about ignorance. But who says that we are talking about ignorance? We don't talk about ignorance here. The opposition team, the first speaker, began with education should not only be about survival, which is right, because in schools we usually try to make education in all sorts of environments. So you know that it is that child-centered method that was mentioned by the first speaker, which is true, and we, or teachers in general, have to be aware of the child-centered method. And that means also talking about crisis survival methods. So the best way of education for good health are those people who are involved in this process, like parents, school, society. So if we think about the second speaker of the opposition, Anca Andolescu, there are not enough trained people to do this. Maybe we can think about not being enough people to do this, but also we have to think about our instincts, how she mentioned, because she said something about acting through this idea or issue. The proofs that were survival through instinct in the crisis situations, COVID-19 was managed not before but after it started. So people could manage through survival techniques, these techniques. And third speaker of the opposition team mentioned something about the digital one, how to survive in a crisis involves more questions than answers. That's true. More relaxed attitude to this motion would be said to think about a teacher is much more than everything. A photographer, a doctor, a mother, a father went on the reply. Conclusion of this motion is that the opposition team is to be pointed.
Thank you.